The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning to you here at 5 a.m. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher.
We have an update on a story that's making headlines around the world this morning. Another American is being detained in Russia, with many questioning if it's wrongful. 17 News is now learning that American is from Bakersfield. Travis Leak is facing drug charges that could put him behind bars for 20 years. He was arraigned in Moscow over the weekend. He is a musician who has called Russia home for the past decade. Just a little more than a year ago, he posted on Facebook saying he feels supported in Russia and is not concerned about being, quote, the target of undue persecution. However, in a video shared by Russian state media over the weekend, Leak said in part, quote, I don't understand why I'm here. I do not believe that I could have done what I am accused of because I don't know what I'm accused of. This comes as tensions are high between Russia and the United States. The State Department has formally declared 2 other Americans held in Russia as wrongfully detained. The department says it is working to determine if Leak's detention is also wrongful.
And turning now to your 17 Crime Watch here at home, an intense scene in South Bakersfield where a 75-year-old man was in a standoff with deputies. It happened yesterday afternoon on Bell Terrace. Deputies say they responded to reports of a man outside his home yelling for help. When they heard his cries from inside when they entered, they say he pointed a gun at them. Deputies retreated before shots were fired. A standoff ensued for about an hour and a half before the man was finally arrested on several charges. Numerous guns were recovered from the scene.
A local man accused of raping a 13-year-old girl in Delano nearly a decade ago has accepted a plea deal. The incident happened back in 2014. Prosecutors say the teen girl was walking to school when a man grabbed her from behind and pulled her into an alley and then tied her up and sexually assaulted her. Police reports say surveillance video taken from a nearby business captured the man forcing the girl into the alley. 57-year-old Rodrigo Munoz Perez was arrested last year in the Bay Area on attempted rape in a separate case, and his DNA was uploaded to a national database, leading to the positive hit in the Delano case. Perez pleaded no contest to all 14 charges filed against him. He faces up to 125 years to life in prison. Sentencing is set for September.
Making news around the nation, in a matter of hours, history will unfold in Miami. Former President Donald Trump expected to surrender to federal agents, which will make him the first man to occupy the Oval Office and then face federal criminal charges. An indictment from the Department of Justice alleges the former president took classified government documents at the end of his presidency, hiding them away at his Mar-a-Lago estate. Jay Gray outside of the federal courthouse in Miami this morning with a closer look at the case and potential fallout.
Police, federal agents, and protesters have been in Miami for days.
Now is my president. Now, tomorrow, and forever. And I defend him.
The crowd and security expected to intensify outside the federal courthouse over the next several hours, where former President Donald Trump is expected to voluntarily surrender to prosecutors.
The FBI, Miami police, U.S. Marshals, everyone's monitoring.
He'll likely enter the courthouse through an underground tunnel and will be processed by both federal marshals and the FBI. Once inside the courtroom, the former president will enter a plea on 37 counts from 7 separate charges, including obstruction of justice, destruction or falsification of records, conspiracy, and false statements.
We have one set of laws in this country, and they apply to everyone. Violations of those laws put our country at risk.
Images released by the Department of Justice show boxes of classified documents scattered throughout Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort. The former president says he's done nothing wrong, labeling the indictment the boxes hoax.
The ridiculous and baseless indictment of me by the Biden administration's weaponized Department of Injustice will go down as among the most horrific abuses of power in the history of our country.
Advisors to Mr. Trump say they don't expect him to take any kind of plea deal in the case. The special counsel says he'll request a speedy trial. Jay Gray, NBC News, Miami.
Meantime, House Speaker and Bakersfield Congressman Kevin McCarthy is weighing in on the Trump indictment. He suggests there's a double standard in this case.
I think President Trump has not been treated equally like everybody else in this process. Think for one moment, when you left the office and the boxes were all boxed up, do you think the president puts everything in those boxes? There's not a timeline when those documents come back, and they say the archives is supposed to work with them. Why didn't we follow that all the way through? And I think when you're looking now currently at a current president that has documents sitting behind his automobile in a garage that date all the way back to a senator, that raises a lot. If you're charging one and not charging the other, you raid one house but you don't raid the other, that's a little different, and that's not fair. And I think the one thing people will say in America, they believe in the rule of law, and it should be fair applied to everybody. But right now, it really seems that it's not fair.
Meantime, McCarthy has struck a temporary deal with far-right holdouts in the House to get things moving again. Under the deal, a package of GOP bills will advance to the floor. House conservatives who were upset by the deal to raise the debt ceiling had voted with Democrats last week to block those bills. Yesterday, though, the band of 11 conservative rebels agreed to back the legislation. The group of hardline conservatives say they are still concerned about the debt ceiling deal, warning that they could block other GOP bills if spending isn't cut further in upcoming appropriations process. Back here at home, a fundraiser is being held today to honor a toddler who died under suspicious circumstances at a home in East Bakersfield 1 week ago. Family members have identified the little boy as 2-year-old Ezekiel Rivera. The 911 call came in last week for a child who had possibly overdosed on fentanyl. The coroner has not confirmed the boy's cause of death. No arrests have been made, but a protest outside the home on Sentido Drive had demonstrators yelling, quote, "Get these baby killers off our streets." A GoFundMe account to help pay for Ezekiel Rivera's funeral has already raised nearly $12,000. The To Infinite and Beyond fundraiser for Zeke will be held at 5 p.m. at the Elements venue on Chester Avenue. Organizers say the fundraiser will feature raffles and a deep pit barbecue dinner and plenty of food for about 500 people. So you're invited down to come on down. There's a $25 donation that will go toward funeral services. You can find more information on our website, kget.com.
5:34 is your time now. Kern County's Emergency Services Command Center is getting a new multi-million-dollar communication system. But who will install it and for how much is yet to be decided. 17's Robert Price has the story.
The Kern County Board of Supervisors is set to vote Tuesday on whether to award what is thought to be the largest single contract in county history, $177 million for a regional public safety communications network. This is the Emergency Services System, headquartered near Bakersfield College, that the county uses to coordinate interjurisdictional operations, including the activities and movements of various law enforcement and fire suppression units. Flooding, earthquakes, encroaching wildfire, those and other emergencies are handled here. The new system would replace a deteriorating and antiquated analog communication system. County Chief Administrative Officer Ryan Alsop is recommending that the board approve the bid by Motorola Solutions for installation, support, and other costs associated with the network. Two companies responded to the county's request for proposals, and the county accepted the higher bid based on what it said was best value. The other bidder, Florida-based L3 Harris Technologies, reportedly submitted a bid of $172 million. Aaron Williams, L3's Vice President of Sales, who plans to address the board Tuesday, said the selection process didn't go as the company was led to believe.
Things that procurement told us how they would do have all been kind of bypassed or not done as they said.
L3 Harris is a leader in the development of AI and autonomous satellite-reliant systems. Last week, the company won a $29 million contract with the U.S. Space Force to design a sensor for a missile warning and tracking system. Alsop declined comment, referring questions to the letter he sent to the Board of Supervisors explaining the history of the project and his recommendation. The Kern County Taxpayers Association also declined comment. In Bakersfield, Robert Price, 17 News.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.